Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
This is Season 3, Episode 17 of The Horse Show on Wisp Sports Radio. Hello, I'm Chris Stafford, coming to you from the World Equestrian Games in Tryon, North Carolina. It is the end of Day 3 of competition here. We've just seen the conclusion of the Grand Prix Special, and it was all about the girl power today, with Isabel Wirth of Germany taking the gold medal ahead of Laura Graves from the USA. And in bronze medal position, surprising herself even, was Britain's Charlotte Dujardin with her new mare, Freestyle, Mount St John Freestyle. And I was able to catch up with Charlotte, and we'll hear from her a little bit later on in the program. But I want to begin with Heather Blitz reviewing the Grand Prix Special, because she had some interesting things to say about the top 3 rides today. And then later on, we're going to hear from we're going to hear from Charlotte later on in the program. After Heather, we'll hear from Charlotte, and then after that, we'll hear from Bettina Hoy, the double Olympian, who's here as the coach of the Dutch team, eventing team this is now, and also from Debbie Adams, who's also a rider and trainer and coach. She's here as a volunteer to fence judge tomorrow for the cross country. So I got a few different perspectives here for eventing, and we'll come to that later on in the program. But so first of all, let's go to Heather to get her review of the competition here, the Grand Prix Special, and then we'll hear from Charlotte Dujardin about her ride, and then do the eventing preview, really recap of the dressage so far that concluded here today as we go into cross country tomorrow, and get their thoughts on that too. Well, the Grand Prix Special is just round up here again, and I'm joined by Heather Blitz to give us a review. Actually, Heather, what an exciting competition in the end there. We did say yesterday that there may not be too many surprises for the gold medal, so the rest was to play for. I'm going to hand it over to you now to talk us through the Grand Prix Special today.
Wow, that's a tall order. I didn't get to watch the whole class. I'll start with that, because I do have a competitor in the para-equestrian division that I had to go and school her with her horse today, and so that took me out of maybe the middle group watching the special today. So I really watched just a few in the first group, and then I watched all of the last group. Except for Carl, didn't get to catch his. But the last four just have me completely blown away right now. Like, I can barely feel my feet on the ground, because it was so amazing to watch all four. The last four were just incredible. I mean, the word wow just kept coming out of my mouth.
Absolutely. Talk us through that. Okay, so
Laura, yep, and she put in one of her really great, very experienced rides on a horse that she gets along really well with. It's a sport of opinions, and of course you have to give her credit for having done the ride that she did, and her consistency is also very impressive. I don't know if it's a horse that I could ride, but I admire the fact that she has done obviously so well with him, and it was a really great representation of our sport in this country. And then next was Charlotte Dujardin, and OMG. So I thought that I would take Cosmo home in my suitcase, and then I thought, okay, maybe I'll go ahead and exchange that one for Charlotte's mare, OMG. Unbelievable dynamic and suppleness. Everything in that horse matches every part of that horse. Every square inch of that horse matches every other square inch of it. It has a dynamic and power and elasticity and expression, and I don't even know how the shoulder blades stay attached to the mare when she does her extension, because I'm surprised they're not just flying completely off. She has a range of motion that I've never seen before. Never. And then together with Charlotte's experience, it's a completely dynamic duo, and like I said, sport of opinions, I think she was robbed. I think that she could have had well into high 80s, 87, 89 if you ask me. I don't know what else. To me, I don't know how you could criticize that ride. I really don't. I was trying hard, and I really don't see how you could criticize that ride one single step.
That's really interesting because this mare is young still, right? Relatively, I think this is like her 6th Grand Prix yesterday, and even Charlotte will say, there's a lot of things that are not as solid as they will be in time, in a year or so. So for her to have got the mare to this point from yesterday to today speaks to her horsemanship.
Yeah, that is. It is. It's incredible. I wish there was a better word I can come up with right now, but that's just what I'm going to say. It's just incredible. I'm completely inspired. I can't wait to go try to ride like she does. And somehow I don't think she'd probably sell that horse right now, but to think how it's going to get better and better. It's crazy. Like, how could you even improve that? But I know she will, and she's going to be around for a long time, and it's just so inspiring. And then Isabel and her ride.
Well, before you get to Isabel, Heather, I'm just thinking. I think, judging by the expression on Charlotte's face after that she was like blown away too. That the mare just stepped up another level today. It was incredible. It made me cry. It was incredible. And I'm a little bit hard to impress, I have to say. You are? Yeah, I am hard to impress. And I am stunned by that ride in the best of ways possible. And I just can't wait to see them, again, the next time they're out. Yeah, it's going to be very, very, very exciting to watch her. And the maturity already in that mare, just while she's been here, has been really super to watch, as you say. So, okay, let's go on to Isabel. We said yesterday she's going to be the one to beat. Did she do as much as you expected? I mean, 86 from 81 to 86, that was. Well, I already told you what I think that Charlotte should have gotten, so I'm going to leave it there. I admire the hell out of Isabel. That piaffe on that mare really makes, goosebumps. I think Charlotte's canter was a whole lot better. Well, that's a serious appraisal, Heather. I mean, overall now, going forward, what do you think the freestyle's going to produce? Good question. I haven't seen either one of the ladies' freestyles. The last whole group, the top 30 and the special. I just didn't get to see them all, but especially the last group. I haven't seen them, so I'm very much looking forward to that entertainment. I think it's just going to be, what they already bring to the party, and if they don't get blown away by the hurricane winds that might come our way by that day, is it Sunday? I think the freestyle is then they're just going to bring their best, and it's going to be what we already saw times more. Well, we got girl power then, all women on the medal podium. Isabel, then Laura, and then Charlotte. That just speaks to the power of the women riders at the top in the world now, and the horsepower. Yeah, well, also the top horse is a mare, and the third place horse is a mare. So also on the horse side of it, we've got female power. There are quite a few mares this year that are really good. So it's super to see. All right. Well, thanks very much for giving us your thoughts on it. And it's always great to hear what you think of, at this level, because it is, as you say, a sport of opinion, and, anything can happen on the day. So we're looking forward to the freestyle on Sunday. Meanwhile, you go back and train some fine-tuning, I would say, probably, for your rider, Annie Peavy, who will be competing in the Grade 4 starting next week. So we'll catch up with you there as well. But hopefully we might see you for the freestyle. You'll be cheering Laura on, no doubt. I will be cheering my favorite on. Yes, I will. That's awesome. Thanks so much, Heather. Thank you. Charlotte, I want to ask you really, I got some feedback from a Team USA rider who was watching your test, a former rider, okay? And her reaction when I talked to her for the show, she said she thought you were robbed and that should have been 90. She said there was nothing wrong with your test at all. And judging by your expression when you came out, it surprised you.
I personally don't, what the judges think is one thing, but what I think, and, I can honestly say, hand on heart, didn't matter if I medalled or not, I was so proud of what freestyle had given me. I knew she couldn't do any more. For where she is at the moment in her training, she'd given me absolutely everything. And, I have had loads of people say I should have had more, or, I deserve more. But, that's the sport. And, I'm so proud of where I am at the moment to come here, with such a young, inexperienced horse to come away with an individual medal. I really didn't think that was going to happen.
When you first rode her, though, did you think, okay, this is a horse that's going to take me to an Olympics when you first got on her?
No, because if you actually look at her from when she starts, I mean, she has no paces. Like, her paces are just what you would look at and go, she's very normal. She has a nice walk and a good trot and a nice canter, but nothing makes you go wow or think, oh my God, that's the next gold medalist, or you really can't see it. But when I started training her trainability is incredible. She's so brave and willing. I knew that's what made her special. And when I started training again, I just got the most amazing feeling.
So obviously going forward with her now with the freestyle, there's a few things to confirm. Clearly, she's a baby still, relatively. What did you feel from what she's given you this past 2 days that you will now focus on?
For really coming here, I use this as experience for her. I really felt like, I didn't know how she was going to fly. I didn't know how she was going to deal with this sort of heat. I didn't know how she was going to cope with the environment. There was so much I did not know that. They're all the things I now know. I feel like I've learnt and come away with so much from coming to this trip and this show. And, a year's time, I know she's going to be, I hope, unbeatable.
What has she taught you?
I think Vallegro taught me so much. I mean, he gave me so much confidence, so much. I learned so much riding him. We both didn't know what we were doing at the beginning. We learned so much along the way. It's definitely made it easier to train freestyle because I know much more. And I feel like I've been able to put my experience onto her, and actually, like today, I've managed to help her and nurse her through the tests. Yesterday, I think I rode a little bit, passive. I maybe could have, done a little bit more, but they were all the things I really didn't know. I really didn't know what to expect, and today you can, I think the difference in what I knew, my experience, I could put that into her a bit more.
Do you feel, because of your obviously a fantastic record with Vallegro, that it actually kind of puts you in the pressure? Does it give you any extra pressure, or do you feel with her, because she's not obviously at his level yet, that it doesn't? I mean, how do you feel about the pressure that being on the team maybe a bit earlier than you might have expected?
I mean, I don't worry about the pressure from other people. I put the pressure on myself, definitely. I don't want to come here to be just a nobody. I want to be there because I want to, show people what I can do. I definitely know after Vallegro's retirement, people didn't think or expect to see me out again. Little did they know how many horses I have at home that I'm training in between and bringing through. And again, I feel so proud to say that I've, trained her, got her to that level. I felt very proud just to be here, to be taking part. And the pressure and the expectation, I think, is much greater for her than it ever was for Vallegro, because like I said, nobody knew who we were when we started. We had no pressure, we had no expectation. Everybody just kept seeing me going out winning and thinking, who the hell is she? Now everybody knows who I am, everybody knows what I'm capable of. I think it was much greater for freestyle to come through at her age now and deliver.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, and the very best of luck on Sunday.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I'm joined this afternoon by two riders, two friends of mine, really, that we've been hanging around with for some time. One is Bettina Hoy, and the other is Debbie Adams. Debbie Adams, of course, American. She's an owner, rider, coach, and she's volunteering here at Tryon for the FER World Equestrian Games. And Bettina, of course, you're coaching. Just to remind everybody who you're coaching here.
I'm coaching the Netherlands. I'm the national coach of the Dutch event team.
All right, so you've got your hands full here now. How's it going for you so far?
Yeah, it's all right. Very much as I predicted. We'll have got one more rider to go, but obviously there's not going to be a dressage competition. The key day will be tomorrow on the cross country.
Give me your first impressions. We'll go into it in a bit more depth in a minute, but I just want your first impressions of the course. What would be your elevator speech on the cross-country course?
I think it's beautifully built, and if riders use their brain and know how fit their horses are, they all have a good chance of getting home.
Well, that's good enough. Well, Debbie, what about you? You're volunteering. What fence do you have?
I have fence 5, which is a combination that's going to cause a lot of discussion.
Yeah, that's down by the water, with the water on the left, that nice big water complex on the left, right, and it's got some options there.
Yes, you start with a ditch and wall, down to a table. The quick route is to a skinny, and slightly longer route is a second table to a skinny. But then the ground's a bit uneven, so most of the riders were walking for the 3-effort option.
Well, we've seen people walking the course in conditions that were very hot and humid, and you know what the terrain is like out there. Now, what are your impressions of what you've seen so far?
Actually, I'm very pleased with what I saw. I was here in April, and then I'm back this weekend, and I came as a volunteer because I know they needed help. And they've done a tremendous amount of work, and it's actually a beautiful track. Mark has designed a very interesting track, very challenging, one where you're going to have to think throughout. And like Bettina said, you're going to have to really ride with your mind.
Well, I heard from another rider yesterday, they thought it started off as a CCI and then became a CIC and then maybe ended as a CCI. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't quite know what they mean with that. I mean, it's obviously you have parts, if that's what they meant, that are very intense, where you have minutes with lots of jumps. But I think we do have that in certain CCIs in Europe as well. So I think it's a little bit the modern way of course designing.
It's a European way in a way, isn't it?
I don't know. I haven't ridden so many outside Europe, so I can't tell you.
No, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I was once in Kentucky, and that was about it. Well, and then obviously the Olympics, but yeah, otherwise mainly ridden in Europe. Yeah.
Give me thoughts on the terrain itself, because as we know, it's a golf course, beautiful turf. We've had all this rain. We've seen with the endurance where it's not turf, it really hasn't been holding very well, and it's going to be very slippery if we had the rain. We're hoping now, the day before cross country, there isn't too much rain in the forecast. But what do you think about the footing and also the time? And that famous final hill is going to test them, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly will. I mean, you have a lot of little undulation that already, like in between the fences going to fence 1, for starters, that can throw the horses a little bit off balance. And then there are some wet patches. We were told they will put stones and sand down just to keep it as firm as possible. But again, riders have to ride accordingly to the ground, regardless of how much rain we get. And they need to also keep a little bit in the tank so that the last hill they still make it.
Well, as Debbie said, the fences are just beautiful. They're so beautifully designed and constructed. Are there any fences out there that if you were riding it, that it depends, of course, on what horse you're riding, but generally, what are your views about the type of fences he's chosen, the type of lines, combinations, the technicality, Bettina?
Well, if I think of riding designer, I would be very much looking forward to tomorrow.
Oh, if you were riding designer?
If I ride my horse, yeah, called designer. Like he would, I think he would love the course. And I think there are some clever questions in. There are some alternatives that don't really make much sense to me. Yeah, like at the water, there are so many alternatives. I find that quite confusing. I don't know that you need that many alternatives and that many EF and Gs. But that's the choice. But as I said before, I think if everyone chooses a clever path, they all will have a great time tomorrow.
Well, as Bettina says, there's EFG. I think it's probably a record at 10, Debbie. You have designed courses, of course, for your own event. So you're familiar with the FEI rules and so on. But it seemed to me when I walked it that at the lake there, fence 10, which goes up to G, is that a world record?
I think so, because I've only ridden through F. I've never ridden through G.
What do you think about putting that many options, though? Because this is a 3-star. It gives the lesser nations a safe option, really.
Well, I think he did it for that reason, and I also think that it's very interesting for spectators to have that many choices to watch. That was my feeling when I saw that because there were several choices for escape routes for horses with a little less experience or ability to get out. And I thought he gave them so many options that it was more a spectator fence to watch all the choices and see what happens, interest.
Yeah, it definitely is going to add a little interest. And Bettina, I was thinking when I was walking it, I don't think there's anywhere absolutely flat. You've ridden Burley, of course, and it just rocks and rolls the whole way around, doesn't it? But no big hill, obviously, that they have here. Not comparable to what we have here. What do you think that will take out of the horses to be constantly on the move in terms of the camber and that undulation in the conditions that we're expecting with the heat and humidity and that final hill?
Obviously, we didn't have the humidity, but we do have courses like Blair, where you do have some proper hills.
Scotland's known for its hills.
Scotland, exactly. And again, it was wet when they had the Europeans 4 years ago, 5 years ago now. And you had to just ride, really cleverly. I think you have to know how fit your horse is. So you need to know whether you can push up the hill. And again, as I said before, you need to leave something in the tank. I think it will, or the riders that will benefit, I still think will be the riders that have ridden the old long format with steeplechase.
Seriously?
Yeah, because, like whether it's someone like Philip or Mark, those people that really know how do the horses feel when they become tired and sit still for 200 to 300 meters, and then they get the second wind and pick up again. I think it's that kind of horsemanship that we would like all to see tomorrow.
Well, we don't know the optimum time yet. I'm just waiting to hear what the optimum time is. Do you actually know that yet, Debbie?
The optimum time I was told down at the briefing was 10 minutes, but I don't know. I mean, they said it was 10 minutes on the dot. But my question to Bettina is, everybody's concerned that the point of the hill is right around 8 minutes, and that's where horses normally need to take a breath.
I know that Bettina, you had to leave me. It's lovely to catch up with you. Thank you so much. And we will catch up further because I know you have a job to do here. But thanks for joining me. Lovely to see you.
Good to see you. Bye-bye.
All right, Debbie, going back to this treacherous hill at the end here. Okay, walking it for myself personally, it took the wind out of me. But it was noted that it does rise and then it goes flat a little bit and then it does rise again. Will that give a horse a breather? When he's strategically placed the fences on that hill, that's going to be the final test to if anybody is going to make the optimum time or not.
When I walked the hill, I had just the opposite feel. So maybe I didn't think the hill was awful. Like, I did not feel that it was, it's a steep hill, but it's not as bad as I had heard. I'd heard it was like a mountain. And I think you're right, that little plateau, I think they'll, if riders are smart, like the Phillip types, they'll catch their breath for a second and go on. And I know Mark rearranged the last couple fences this morning, or maybe yesterday. You could see where they moved them on the grass. So he's altered the question slightly on the turn.
Okay. There was some rumor that it might be shortened or they might take a fence out or just make some adjustment. When I asked just now, the FEI in the press conference, they said no, they had no plans because they didn't expect a radical change in the weather. All right. But then I've heard other versions. As a volunteer and a fence judge, have you heard if they're going to make any changes?
So far, they've changed nothing in our schedule. But the interesting thing as a volunteer is they have us here for 4 days to get trained, educated, and ready for Saturday. And I had no idea it would take 3 days of training for 1 day of work.
Well, it shows how thorough they are, and we know there's a lot of preparation gone into this, and we can't control the weather, we know that. We've heard that endurance, and you probably heard about the endurance competition and how that had to be cancelled, and their reasoning was because of the heat and humidity, and that it exceeded the humidity index that was acceptable. Do you think that is something that is that a rule that's going to be, that could come into play with the FEI in eventing, or do you think that will be a factor tomorrow?
Hopefully the weather's not to be that extremely hot tomorrow. I think the clouds and the wind we're expecting will eliminate that. But yeah, I think that the heat factor in other weekends definitely would be a play that you would have to change. But I think he's going to leave the full 10-minute course.
Okay, let's just look at the competition here. I know you've watched some of the riders go, and obviously your allegiance is to Team USA, but general impressions of what you've seen?
Oh, I'm so impressed. I just think it's really good quality. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I got to watch a little bit yesterday afternoon and a lot today, and I've seen some lovely horses. And the fun thing was picking them out in the warm-up last night as to how they performed today.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot then, and no one's listening to this, of course, but who was your pick of those standout horses today?
Well, I mean, you'd be a fool not to pick Chipmunk yesterday.
Okay.
I've watched him since he's was at Lyon, but I'm a big fan of this Mr. Chunky horse. I'm intrigued by him. I watched him work the other night, and I watched him go today, and I just find him an interesting athlete. I've never watched him jump. He just fascinates me, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, well, I got really excited about Tim Price's horse.
I missed that horse. I didn't get to see that. I was still out walking the cross-country course at that point.
Okay, stay tuned for this mare. Don't ask me to pronounce her. She's an 11-year-old Dutch warm blood, and I can't remember how you pronounce them, but he took over the ride from Janelle, apparently, last year, and he was on the winning Nations Cup team in Buccalo, and they were third in Aachen this year on the Nations Cup team, and he also won with her last year. She's absolutely stunning. She looks super fit. She had a fabulous outline and did a beautiful, beautiful test, but she just looks strikingly, obviously plenty of blood and super fit. I mean, really fit. And I think she just, to me, she stood, how you just, one or two horses, I mean, Chipmunk, of course, stands out. But it just struck me that she would be, given the form, I mean, Janelle and Tim are just on fire right now. I wouldn't be at all surprised because she's done 3-star, and she's ready for a championship. Any thoughts about that?
I absolutely agree. I mean, he's magic with that horse. And like Bettina said, the experienced riders that have ridden long format, and to me, different countries and all, I think he's going to be very clever tomorrow in how he uses these horses. I think it'll be fun to watch.
And Team USA got off to a good start with Boyd and Zetterling, and then of course Lynn did a lovely test with Donna, Lynn Szymanski, and and we've seen Philip Dutton just now with Z. I think overall, there'll be so much home support for Team USA, of course. What would kind of be your expectations of their results at the end of the day tomorrow?
I can count on those three. I'm expecting all three of them to jump clear and come home. I mean, Boyd and Philip are tigers, and they are going to be on fire being at home. And what's better than watching Lynn and Donna? I mean, they are magic together. So that's a big part of it, how you get along with that particular horse. And three clean runs.
Well, you heard it here, and it looks like right now the Team USA is on the podium in terms of team position, but a lot to play for. That'll be coming tomorrow, of course, cross-country here. But Debbie, great to catch up with you. Have a fabulous time volunteering on your fence tomorrow. A long day for you, but it's always fun.
Yes, and we're not allowed to have any cover. We sit outside in our little rain hats and rain suits, no umbrellas, nothing to cover us. So it should be fun.
And, of course, no alcohol to keep you warm. Well, you won't need that.
Oh, I don't need that stuff.
Not until the end of the day. Well, Debbie, thanks so much for stopping by.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, thanks to all of my guests. A great show today. I'm really pleased that we were able to catch up with Heather again and get her review of the dressage. Today, the Grand Prix Special, of course, it will be a rest day tomorrow for them before they go on to the freestyle on Sunday. Cross-country tomorrow, of course, so looking forward to that. That should be a really fun day. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. We're looking forward to good conditions, actually, relatively cooler, a little bit more breeze coming through, so it might actually be the best day we've had so far here at Tryon. And then finally, of course, on Sunday, we've got the freestyle to look forward to, and the stadium jumping, obviously, for eventing. So lots more going on this week, and I'll be back with more tomorrow after the cross-country, so do tune in to the Horse Show on Wisp Sports on your podcast player, and follow the Facebook Lives too. I should mention that I did a video also of the interview that I did with Charlotte, and as well as I recorded the press conference live, so you can watch that on our Facebook page. And I also did some other Facebook Live coverage too today, and just reviews, recaps of how the day was unfolding. That's all, of course, on Wisp Sports Facebook page, and I'll be doing more of that tomorrow. So We'll talk to you then. Thanks for listening wherever you are in the world, and don't forget to follow us on social media at Wisp Sports. Goodbye for now.